We're sorry. Your call cannot be completed as dialed.
The Big Tom West Show. West. West.
I love radio. Always have loved radio. From a little kid, I remember going home and listening to my favorite Steve Dahl and Gary Myers show. And I would tape it, and I would listen to it, and I wanted to be that. That's all I ever wanted to do. And I was lucky enough to do it. So there's that. But I have my radio guys. I still love radio. And I can tell you what they did last weekend, what they had for lunch. I can tell you who got a little rowdy at the client Christmas party, got a little slap on the wrist. When you have your show, it's your show. Those are your guys who you spend time with. Radio is an intimate medium. And if someone talks shit about your show, you'll stand up for them. You'll tell them to fuck the fuck right off and be done with it. Don't talk bad on my show. And I work with some people who are fans of a nationally syndicated AM morning show.
Nationally syndicated AM?
No, AM meaning morning time.
Oh, okay.
It's the big morning show, nationally syndicated across this great land of ours. Coast to coast, like butter on toast. You can hear these guys doing their thing Monday through Friday, sometimes overnights, depending on what market you're in. And I hear my pals at work go back and forth, and they are engaged. I mean, they're like, oh, yeah, and then one thing, and then they said that one thing, and so, they're all in on this radio show. Now, I know who the host is, but I've never listened.
Yes.
And I did so last night, listened to yesterday's show, and I made it through 9 minutes.
That's good.
And I had to force myself for those 9 minutes.
That's a 15-minute rating for them, so they're happy.
And at the end of it, it's like, these guys are your guys. I guess either you're all in or you're not. But
it's no different than you being a Steve and Gary fan,
Sure. Yeah, you could talk about it all you want. It's the best thing ever, and that's the worst way to produce. That's the worst way to introduce someone to something like great. These guys are the greatest, man. You got to listen to them, and then you tune in. And if you're not, playing along with it, if you're not inside baseball and everything, so I like my guys better.
Right.
You like the ones that you're familiar with
because you know what they're talking about when they say Glenn from accounting.
Oh yeah, that Glenn. Was Glenn up to it again?
You're acting like a real Glenn from accounting right now. Oh, I get it.
Did you see what intern Turd Boy did? Oh, God, that guy is just crazy.
Well, it's tough to be. You got to live up to the name Turd Boy.
I don't want to be the. Let's start that again. I don't want to be perceived as the former radio guy who's just bitter and jealous. Bitter, I am not. A little bit jealous of their paychecks. A little bit. And I don't begrudge them anything. Radio is good work if you can get it. And those in it make all the money you want. Cash it in. Cash the checks. But I didn't get it.
Is this, would you find this person's last name in a graveyard?
Maybe. Perhaps.
In coffins?
Yeah, perhaps.
After you eat the chicken, you throw this part away?
The host of National Radio Show is Ryan Seacrest Smooth. He's good. He's good at what he does. He can get in and out. He facilitates the show and plays the room and does everything else. But when he goes into that playing the room. Aw shucks, I'm just a guy. I'm just not buying what he's selling because I know he's not just a guy. And he's playing like, well, me, I'm just, I didn't see anything. I just happened to come in here behind this microphone. And so it says that you're a police officer, huh? 7 years. Like, what the hell's going on? What is that? I don't understand that whole, it seems forced to me. I mean, I can hear it like cheese whiz coming out of my speakers. Like,
but
ugh.
think of this. Think of how many consultants over the years have told you to do just that nonsense.
What? And I couldn't do it.
Right, which is probably why we're both sitting here right now.
But at least we had fun doing it.
Right.
I cherish those years.
Absolutely.
And will forever. But Broadcast Center back in the day, bought radio time, from the Point.
Sure.
So they'd have me go out there on a Tuesday night and I'd say, hey, everybody, what's going on? And, who wants to work for, so-and-so radio station. But when they said the Point, everyone, raised their hand and they said, go get them and read that thing and good luck to y'all. And I got a call the next day after the appearance. And one of the kids that was in the room said, as soon as I left the room, the instructor said, you don't ever want to sound like Thom West. All right, then.
You don't ever
want to. Hey, see what that guy did? Don't even think about doing that.
Right.
So I kind of wore it as a little badge of honor.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, in all honesty, think of, like Stephen Gary. I actually got suspended from school for calling Stephen Gary.
The Stephen Gary, Chicago radio legends, and me and you were all in before we even knew each other.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, they started before Stern, but it was kind of like all during that time. They were the Chicago version of a Stern-ish.
And I love Stern too.
Right. Absolutely.
I love listening to Stern.
And I even love.
I haven't listened in a while, but I remember going.
I do love his new incarnation. He's become such a great interviewer. He was always a good interviewer, like trying to extract the craziest nonsense from whoever was in the room at the time, making them, do things and instigate and play things on that, normal person's not going to get to do. He
and then you got Fred, doing his thing. It all worked.
It was an orchestra, yeah,
it was
absolutely
really good.
And then Steve and Gary were very similar. Like, Steve was a morning guy and Gary was the overnight guy.
Yeah,
and much like Fred and Howard. You know what I mean? And Steve was like, "Hey, you want to come in and be on more of the show?"
Yeah,
and he said, "Sure," and they did, and were hugely popular. The world famous Disco Demolition is from Stephen Gary.
Kind of a hard segue because it's kind of a hard segue because you go from talking about guys like Stern and Stephen Gary, and if you listen to the Big Thom West Show, I guess you could call it an acquired taste. Salty, childish, inane, vapid, downright wrong. But at the end of the day, it's sarcasm. It's meant to be funny, not hurtful. I'm a hugger by nature. I'll hug you all day long, Shanny. I'd rather laugh than argue. I try to be kind to everyone I encounter on a daily basis. I am not Ryan Seacrest smooth at all. And I don't think the Big Thom West Show is all that big, which is why I find it funny that it's called the Big Thom West Show.
Because Vente was already taken.
Yeah, of course. Let's give this a listen and tell me what you think. It's Big, THOMWEST show at gmail.com. My name is Tom. That's my friend Shanny.
Hey.
And the Big Thom West Show starts now.
You're listening to the Big Thom West Show. Sit on your fingers and stay a while.
5 Things I Know Thanks to True Grit by Thom West. You must pay for everything in this world, one way or another. There is nothing free except the grace of God. You cannot earn that, or do you deserve it? I always go backwards when I'm backing up. If it ain't loaded and cocked, it don't shoot. I don't believe in sermons, fairy tales, or stories about money. And finally, if I smelled as bad as you, I wouldn't live near people. I like
as Shanny checks his armpits.
I like that True Grit, not the John Wayne True Grit, but the
the
other True Grit.
With a dude.
Good goddamn.
You ever need a one-eyed fat man? Call me, little sister.
This is the Big Thom West Show. It can be found on Facebook, THOMWEST show@gmail.com. You'll find the diversion of this time wherever you get your podcasts. Rate, review, please, and thank you.
Like, share, subscribe.
And as far as I know, I don't got the coronas. As far as I know, I don't have the coronas.
Well, that's good.
The headline New York Post reads, How to tell you have the coronavirus and when to see a doctor. I've bullet pointed the exhaustive article, so you didn't have to read it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just because you have a cough and a fever doesn't necessarily mean that you need to go stampeding off to the doctor. If your Mucinex, if your Robitussin is putting you in a nice little fog and you're making it to the next day, certainly continue to do that. Good luck to you. Have a nice day. The assistant professor of emergency medicine at St. Johns Hopkins, quote, if you feel well enough that it weren't for corona, you wouldn't see a doctor, don't see a doctor.
Does it hurt when you do that? Don't do that.
So, if you never knew about corona and you wouldn't see it, just go ahead and keep on doing that. Now, if you have severe symptoms, now we need to take note. They include a fever that won't go away, shortness of breath, and you're feeling lethargic, dull, sluggish. That would be like the corona trifecta. So
that sounds like just a Tuesday.
So if you have these severe symptoms, then you call your doctor. You say, hey, doc, I got the COVID-19, and then your doctor will work with your state's health department to figure out whether or not to be tested. We're jumping through a lot of hoops here, and I understand maybe people are getting sick, but it's the old ones with the diabetes, with the COPDs.
Just describe to me. Stop it.
Well, look at me. I'm not a beacon of health by any stretch of the imagination.
But you don't want anybody to die. I mean,
let's just say you are just because you have it doesn't mean you're going to die.
Right. The mortality rate for it is high. I mean, are you drawn in? Are you worried in the least?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
You know, in Italy, did you see in Italy
they shut the whole place down? No school. Everyone's off school. Everything's closed.
No, you can't go to the live sporting events. No live sporting events in Italy. They're still going to have the professional sporting events, and they will televise them, but there will be no gatherings.
Sounds like a science fiction movie.
Right. The Coliseum's empty. Now, those lions are just patrolling that place all by their lonesome. But seriously, there's nothing along the piazza.
Bibbidi bobbidi boob. Bibbidi bobbidi.
I don't know. I mean, little bits of me are going, oh, well, what if? You never know. These stupid things keep getting worse, so that's the one thing that you see. Everybody
knows that if you have a symptom, the absolute worst thing to do is Google it.
Oh my gosh!
But this is a form of that. I think I think so that, and we all know people who are just hypochondriacs.
Oh God!
I mean, there's something always wrong. Something's wrong, and this and that. And I understand that it's a real feeling. I'm not belittling that feeling, but you can send yourself into a bit of a tizzy with just a thought.
Dude, I ate gas station sushi. Googled it later.